Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is, Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to another edition of The Mom Game. I'm Emily Jones. She is Julie Dobbs, and we are beyond thrilled to have in studio with us the Hitzgeses, Norm and Mary, and the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, the accolades that we'll get into at some point in time. But the key is that the two of you are here together.
Yes.
Yes. And Julie, I'll let you, these are your, Norm and I are friends, but I just met Mary not too long ago. So lovely. I was gushing over how adorable she is. But I know there's lots of things that you want to start off with about Norm and Mary.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for coming in. Welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Emily, you're right. She's adorable.
She is adorable. She's adorable.
Well, thank you guys. And thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
We're super excited.
Yeah.
Sure.
You've heard the term outkicked your coverage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emily.
This one bounced through the end zone and up against the wall at the far end of the stadium.
I firmly believe that one of the best compliments you can ever give a man is to compliment his woman, his lady friend, his wife, his whatever. I feel like that's one of the nicest things that you can do to a man is to compliment his wife. And so that's why I gush over how adorable she is because I think that she is, and I want you to know it.
Aw. Thank you. Thanks, Em.
Okay, so while we're on the Norm and Mary topic,
Yes.
how did you guys meet? Because I don't even know, I don't think. Tell us a little bit about your love story.
Oh, that's a super fun story. So I was actually going to Lone Star, and with a group, I was in real estate, with a group in real estate, and everybody was so excited that Norm was handicapping. And so they were all telling me, oh my gosh, we're so excited. Do you know who's going to handicap? And I'm like, no, who? And they said, Norm Hitzges. And I went, oh, who's that?
So for those who don't know, Norm is a well-known handicapper, big into the races, big supporter of Lone Star Park, and frequent visitor of that establishment. Yes. What year was this? When did this
Oh my gosh.
happen?
What year was that? I can't even remember.
20 years ago now.
Long
Okay.
time ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best filly I ever saw at Lone Star.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
He's done that one a time or two, I
You
bet.
can tell.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you guys bumped into each other there. How did this work? Norm, did you have some good pickup lines?
No.
How'd you hook her?
Did you use the Philly line? Did you?
No.
Okay.
No, I just, there was a crowd of maybe 25 people in a suite, something like that.
Yeah.
And, I'm handicapping, and your eyes go around the room as you're talking, and I thought, wow, that's a beautiful woman. And I was right. And we met, and then we dated for a while, and then we married 10 years and 4 months ago.
How's his math on that one, Mary?
Yeah, it's
Good?
it's good. Don't double check me on the math there, but yeah, I know it's 10 years. But
The reason I know the math is every wedding anniversary, Mary gives me a number to put on this chain, and this is now 10.
There you
What
go.
a great idea.
yeah, it is. It's kind of like a no-brainer then for your gifts because you know
Yeah.
exactly what you're going to get.
That's a phenomenal idea.
Makes
Yeah.
it easy.
So what is life like at home? We'll talk a lot of different things, but we'll start just talking about Norm and Mary and getting to know you guys as a couple a little bit more.
Yeah.
What is life like for the two of you at home? Tell us about your house, your family, what you guys like to do for fun, that kind of thing. Because I think people are very familiar with Norm on the air.
And they
On air Norm.
And they think I watch sports all the time.
Uh-huh.
That's not true.
Well, you drink red wine. I know this.
Yes.
I do know that with an ice cube. If I'm not
Yeah.
okay,
Couple of ice cubes.
Yeah, there's
Mary,
You like
Mary
cheese?
drinks it.
We have to
Oh, I love some
show
cheese.
everybody. We
That
brought
will-
some snacks for Norm today. I said,
that
if Norm
will
is coming in, I
disappear.
need to get
Yeah.
some snacks.
cheese, crackers, some salami or pepperoni, cookie dough balls, and mini tacos.
And mini tacos.
Only the best
It's
for
a real
Norm and Mary.
smorgasbord.
Yes, only the best.
First of all, Mary, by a previous marriage, has two extraordinary sons. They're gifted. They have carved out wonderful careers. Each of them in their 20s carved out their wonderful careers. Alec is a website and app designer.
Cool.
And very sought after, by the way. And Zach, he's in Oklahoma City, and Zach, each of them are married. Zach is in Washington as a digital TV producer.
Okay. So both very accomplished,
Very
both
cutting-edge
married, and you
careers.
did not have children previous.
No
children. Married previous.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So you were becoming a father. So how old were your kids when you all married, or when you met 20 years ago?
When we met, they were teenagers, and I was actually a little bit nervous because Norm didn't have kids, and my house was the house that all the boys came to. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be too crazy for him. Like, he's going to step into this, and there's like 8 teenagers there, like almost all the time. And he stepped in and just became like one of the guys, and loved all the energy. You guys know, with the kids, they're a lot of energy, especially teenagers. But he just fit right in and came in and just was like, wow, these guys are fun.
I will humbly say this. I believe both of them love me a great deal. And I love them a
Absolutely,
great deal.
yeah.
and
they
that's
do.
got to be a gift.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. I have a stepdad, and it's just wonderful. It's kind of crazy to think about life without them once they are in your life, and it's like magical how this all happens.
Well, Mary has 3 brothers and 1 sister. She's got a mom who's 94 years old and still cooking.
Yeah, very
And-
spirited.
And she's got,
Great.
she's an aunt, and, she has nieces and nephews. I had nothing. I have no family in the world. I was an only child. My mom and dad have passed away. I don't have any cousins.
Wow.
I don't. And this
So he
sort of
stepped
gave-
into it. He
Yeah.
stepped into a family.
This
But,
gave me a
it
family.
sounds like it was very welcome.
Oh,
Very welcome at the time for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, they all adore him. Yeah. Yeah.
So was there ever a time when it was like, did they know who Norm was? Were they familiar with his work?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they did. No. We didn't, we weren't like, hey, let's watch sports or talk
Right.
about sports. So, we were more, I guess the guys did theater and things like that. So we were always like active in that realm, not
Right.
really so much the sports realm.
Right. For you guys as a couple, have you found as Norm has become a father and all that, have you found that your relationship has evolved at the same time that those relationships kind of started blossoming? And how so for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it really evolved and blossomed just to see how he stepped in so lovingly and to see, how he was very kind and letting always knowing that my kids always came first. He was never like, well, I don't really, I want to be first. He was wonderful. He was like, I know that those kids are your family, and I'm second tier, and I get that. And now it's evolved to where there's no tiers. It's just like, all of us together as a unit. So
Well, and I think you bring that up, and I feel like I'm from a divorced family as well, and it does. It can change the way you view someone. How it's almost inevitable, actually, for the worse or for the better. Because if they don't really have that respect and that desire to kind of fall into line, it can change your feelings toward them, because you're like, oh, well, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and then. Or it could be, oh wow, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It's even better.
Yes, it was like that because, like I said, when he first came over and walked into my home, and there's like 8 teenagers there, I was like, this could be kind of a deal breaker.
I kind of thought it was an unusual home because as you walked in, there was a stairway to the second story, and at the bottom of the stairway was like 9 pairs of shoes. Because the rule was, take off your shoes if you're going upstairs.
Great rule.
Thought, whoa, this place has a shoe fetish. But let me tell you, if you were to meet Alec and Zachary, one of the first things you would think is, holy cow, who raised these people? Because they are wonderful young men. I mean, they went through college, they went through all of those experiences, but they just don't off-road. And they've got a terrific sense of discipline. They've got a terrific sense of commitment. They're just great guys, and their wives are fine too. Zachary in Washington is married to a Turkish young lady, and they met in China. How's that for a...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And Alec was in theater at Oklahoma City, and that's where he met Tiffany.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about grandkids? Where are we at on the grandkids?
One.
Yes.
Okay, how old? Boy, girl?
She's a girl.
Okay.
She's 7.
Okay.
And she adores Norm. She calls him Nom.
Oh, okay. I like it.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That is adorable.
Yeah.
So 7 years old. Any plans for more for the kids?
Yeah, not
Maybe.
right offhand.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're like, I haven't bugged him about it lately.
Yeah, right. No, I haven't bugged him about that
That's
lately.
good. Just let it happen
Just
how it's
let it
supposed
be.
to happen. So, what's that?
I'm just... Gwendolyn's like all 7-year-olds. Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can confirm.
Certifiably crazy.
I can
Her
confirm.
attention span is somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds. The other day at the house, she said, I want to watch Cruella. And I said, Gwendolyn, you've already watched Cruella, which is, she's watched so many things so many times, it's crazy. She said, I said, you don't want to watch Cruella, you want to watch something else. She said, no, I want to watch something else. And I said, well, Cruella's 2 hours long. Why don't you watch 6 other things 10 minutes per hour? And she did it.
Wow.
She loved that idea. She was like,
I didn't know that was an
That's
option.
a great idea. Like, I'll watch 10 minutes of Cruella, and then I'll watch 10 minutes, and it's all going to be Disney themed.
And leave it to Norm to figure out some numbers, to manipulate the numbers, to make it work, to make the 7-year-old happy. I love it. I love it.
So, Mary, tell us a little about your career and what you were doing when you met Norm, what you're doing now. I, at some point, definitely want to get into Brave Her and your podcast and everything else. But, when you met Norm, what was going on in your world?
Well, let's see. When Norm and I married, I was working for the Perot family. So I was working at Hillwood out in Fort Worth. I was an executive assistant for their oil and gas division. So I did that, loved that. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that's a big job.
That's a big job.
Yeah.
Pretty much 24/7 job. And then that's when I was a single mom, raising, these teenagers. And so, we ran a really tight ship.
We had a couple of crazy moments because Mary did have a crazy job. The people from the pro business would scatter around the world. And I mean, she'd have to get tickets to Kazakhstan.
Wow.
And a place to stay in Kazakhstan. And do you know that India is split into 2 different time zones, 2 half-hour time zones? And I don't know how many times we got in the car and raced to the airport so she could meet one of the oil executives who had landed and is going someplace else, and she had to bring him his next life for the next 14 days, whatever.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really challenging. So, but then we got married, and then I just said, okay, that's enough of that. And then that's when I got into photography. So, and started doing traveling and taking landscape and wildlife, and then it's just
Wonderful.
Evolved from there.
And it works out well because Norm loves to travel.
Oh, gee.
Yes.
So you can go tell us a little bit about your travel adventures, your excursions, and how you pair that with your photography so well.
Oh, it's so great. We've actually even done some travel shows together at the Ticket, so we've done that. But yeah, we travel and
Mary started taking pictures with her phone, like everybody in the world is doing now.
Yeah.
And the pictures were good. I don't mean just clear. I mean composed. You could tell
Had an
someone
eye.
said, "Don't cut off the feet," and things like that. You know. And well, I don't know when it was in our relationship. A couple of years into it, as a present, I bought her a Leica.
that was for our wedding. You bought me a
yes.
Leica for our wedding.
Yes.
What is it?
A Leica.
What is a Leica?
Camera.
It's a camera.
Very nice
brand.
camera.
Okay.
Really nice camera
Okay.
brand. It wasn't professional grade by any means, but it was a sure step up from what I had.
And then
So,
we
yeah.
got to professional grade.
Yeah. That came a little bit later, but yeah, it was like on our honeymoon. We joked that like I spent more time with my camera than I did with Norm,
Where was that?
and that was Argentina.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh,
No,
no.
New
Oh, my
Zealand.
gosh.
It was Argentina.
That's right.
We canceled one trip.
It's probably hard to keep up with all the
It's
trips.
Well-
right. I mean, what a problem to have, right?
Right? Yeah.
We went to the South Island of New Zealand. We stayed
That's
about
right. That's
3
what it
days
was.
on the North Island. Then we went to the South Island, which, when God gets tired of what's happening in the world, he goes to the South Island of New Zealand.
So we can go look for him there right now.
He's there somewhere. It is extraordinary, the beauty.
Good time to escape.
There's no people there.
Really?
There's giant mountains, loads of them. I think they've got 19 peaks of 10,000 feet or more.
So you guys aren't just going to Cabo and
Right.
you know,
No.
like
Yeah.
So how do you find these? Because I feel like when you tell the travel stories on the air on the Ticket, Norm, they're so like you just described,
Oh,
like
he's-
exotic and off
Yeah.
the beaten path and
Yeah.
not
Yes.
easy to get to. And so how do you decide, especially now that your palette is so diverse, how do you figure out where
Yeah.
you're going to go?
Yeah, our favorite thing is off the beeten path.
Yeah,
just
and
like you
as
said.
Julie eats a taco from
I'm
7-Eleven.
hungry. Don't tell them where we got him. Hunger strikes him.
This is true. Listen, it's when you gotta eat, you
That
gotta
was a
eat.
good
Yes,
question.
everybody feel
I've got
free.
about
Yes,
5
here we go.
minutes.
Here we go. Yes. So I'm sorry to interrupt with the taco story, but how do you guys figure out where to go?
I think mostly Norm, he's been like collecting travel files just for years and years. He gets magazines and he clips out, like what's interesting to him. And, he'll find like off the beaten path things. And I mean, literally, he has a file cabinet full, like 2 drawers full of
and
travel.
divided by, I must have 50 files in there of places to go by country.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
so
Yeah.
what's top on the list that you haven't been to?
Oh, gosh.
Antarctica.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, now
Yeah.
it's really hot there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one that's hot.
Okay. Why is it that way? It's not. No, it's not.
Wait.
no, I'm thinking of Greenland and Iceland.
Yeah. I'm
wait,
like, what
sorry.
are you talking about?
Right,
I'm
right.
like, I don't know much, but I'm
No.
pretty sure Antarctica's
Right,
cold.
Antarctica's very cold. Okay, sorry. Antarctica's
I've
very
seen
cold.
penguins and
But
like
wait,
icebergs.
Greenland. Didn't Greenland and Iceland?
Yes,
pull
those
the
are the
whole
ones that
switcheroo?
are
Okay.
the ones that are wonky.
All right,
That's
so-
right.
Well,
Like
she's
the
really good at talking about baseball.
Geography's never been my strong suit. God bless me.
Norm was just being
Iceland.
so sweet. He's like, yeah.
I know. I was like, what is up with that? Why is it hot? And they say it's so cold.
By the way, that's a place we've been.
Which
Iceland.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
There's in Iceland. By the way, when we go places, Mary drives
Okay.
all the time because she's afraid when I drive.
Oh,
And
Yes.
but I
Good
navigate,
reason.
Okay.
and I mean everybody's got a GPS now. I have a map.
Oh.
oh
Okay?
wow.
And a couple of quick stories. We're driving Argentina. You got to fly to Sao Paulo, and then
Yeah.
you continue on to an airport called Ravadivia. Anyway, a place that's out in the middle of sort of nowhere. And then we get our rent car, and then we have to drive on the routes in Argentina. We've been traveling about 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
And you get on this road, there's nothing. There's no gas stations, there's no houses, there's fence to keep the cattle in or the people out. And I said to Mary, okay, our turn's coming up to this place called
Bahia Bustamante.
Bahia Bustamante. I'd had that in my file for maybe 15 years.
Wow.
The Argentina file. And it's a place that used to be a seaweed farm, and then oil spill destroyed the kelp beds. So they had to have something else to keep going. So they built 6 little sea houses. I mean, sea houses. So we were going to go there first. We were going to go 4 places in Argentina. Mary's driving. The sun's starting to set, and we're both tired.
Where are you staying?
At Bahia Bustamante, in one of those.
Oh, okay. Oh, in one of the sea houses.
Yeah, one of the sea
Okay.
houses.
Yeah.
So we're driving, and it's getting dark. And I said, okay, the turn's up here. The turn's up here. And we get to the turn, and Mary said, this is the turn? I said, yeah, that's what I was told. Between this mile marker and that mile marker, or kilometer marker, something. So we turn, and it's a gravel road. And there's no signs, and it's getting dark. And we come to a fork in the road, and there's no sign. And Mary said, what do you think? Where do we go? And I said, I think we head toward the ocean. So we go along this, and this is a distance now. We're talking 15 miles, something like that, on this gravel road. And we go left in the fork, and we're driving a little further, and the sun's setting. And Mary said, are you sure it's this road? And I said, yeah. And I said, dear God, please make sure it's this road.
Did it work? Were your prayers answered?
Yes.
His prayers were answered. It worked.
It was a
Yeah.
wonderful place, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
but
honey?
I mean, that's talking like that is like off the beaten path where he's like taking me, and I'm just like, okay, this is it.
So did you travel before? Because I'm not a big traveler. I don't like to fly a whole lot. Like I'm just kind of anyway. And I always said if I marry someone who really like that's their passion, I will jump on board. But if not, I'll just be happy just kind of like going to Cabo and going to whatever Mexico. Like I have like my 3 different Puerto Vallarta, like all the Mexico places. But were you a big traveler?
Not like that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So it was really fun. Really
Was it?
fun and exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Mary is an extraordinary traveler. We will go to Africa for 2.5 weeks, and she'll do it out of one bag about this size.
Wow.
Yeah. I
and
pack light.
her camera bag.
Yeah.
But she's extraordinary about the space in the in the travel bag and what can go in there and what happened. I don't
Just
need
take
that.
all matching clothes.
Exactly
That's
right.
the
There you
whole
go.
thing. You just all matching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like Emily, where I feel like I would love to go to all of these wonderful places, but it just hasn't like worked out yet in my life. But I'm wondering if you have somebody that's on the fence about like maybe taking that plunge and going on a big vacation. What do you tell them about why traveling is something that is just so wonderful?
you just have to get
It's a whole
there.
nother world.
On the other side, it's a whole nother world. And like Norm said earlier, like sometimes it'll take you 24 hours to get to some place. Like if you're going to Africa, or when we went to Bahia Bustamante, like you're actually traveling even to get there for a full day. And that's intimidating. Like, that's kind of scary, right? You're like, why would I do that? But then you get there and you're just like, wow, like it's so refreshing. You learn so much. I love meeting all the people. The people are so different, and they're just, their culture and what they've learned. And that's what I love, and seeing all the different land.
So where's the number one place you've been? If you could go back, or if you had to pick one place to go back, what would it be? And then where's the number one place you want to go? Did I ask that you haven't been? I didn't do that. Okay.
I laugh because that subject has come up in a conversation in our house in the last couple of weeks.
Where do we?
Now, Mary has a place she wants to go back to.
What is it?
Yeah, what is it? Italy?
Tuscany.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Italy
We're on
and
the
Tuscany.
same page. Yes,
And
definitely. Oh, my gosh.
Nice thing is, in Italy, you can fly into Zurich, and the Swiss trains are unbelievable, aren't they? They're comfortable. They're fast. If it's an 11:13 departure in the morning, the train pulls out at 11:13. And places like they're so beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. So that's where I would go back to.
Okay.
So on my list to go is I want to go to Turkey.
Okay.
So,
to see your daughter-in-law's homeland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I would have the perfect guide. And I mean, it's gorgeous. She sent me pictures, and like the beach is just beautiful. So
Yeah.
that's on my list. That's definitely
What about
on
you,
next.
Norm?
Well, I'd like to take Mary to Machu Picchu.
Okay.
But a lot of our travel now, honestly, is built around Mary's photography. I mean, our house is big framed prints on the walls all over the house, from Italy, from Utah, from Galapagos, from Argentina, from Africa. It's just everywhere that we've been. And a lot now, I more and more think of places as what would Mary love to photograph.
Yeah. Yeah, we think that. And we've been to Easter Island, and I would love to go back there and photograph Easter Island and the wild horses.
Oh, it's
Wow.
weird. It's wonderful and weird. It's spooky. It honestly.
Okay, where's Easter
is
Island? I don't know any of this stuff. I don't even know where
Okay,
Machu
you fly
Picchu
to
is.
Chile, to Santiago.
Okay.
Then you catch a flight about 2.5 hours into the Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
You fly and you land at a place called, I forget the name of the airport. Anyway, there's only 2 places on Earth that flies to that place. And one is Santiago, and the other is Papiti.
Yeah,
one of
I
the other
can't
islands
remember.
in the Pacific. But when you get there, you get this triangle-shaped island that has all these huge stone carvings. I mean, some of them 15 feet high, carved out of the rock that is beneath the soil because it's a volcanic island. And the people who lived at Easter Island carved 250,
At least the Moai, they call it the Moai.
and they're all over the island.
Yeah.
And the island, I don't know about you, I never saw a fence.
How big is this island?
Oh gosh, it's not big.
No,
Okay.
6 by 7 by 9.
Oh.
Okay? And we were at this place, the only place where the Moais face inland. All the Moais also face the ocean. But there's this long stretch of Moai. There's like 10 or 12 of them. Gorgeous setting. Ocean in the background. And Mary's down there photographing. And this group of wild horses runs down there and just starts hanging out by the ocean. And it's a spectacular picture.
That would be kind of frightening. I mean, did it jar you at all? Like
No.
wild horses? There'd be, I don't know, something very unstable about that to me.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would just be
Yeah.
like, am I okay here?
Yeah.
I get scared of cows and they can hardly move.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like if I'm on a run at my sister's, I pass the
animals, you
cows
just
and I'm
never
like,
know. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know about animals.
don't.
Yeah, that's
you
what's a little-
don't.
so what place is, of all the places you've been, what's the place you want to go to that you haven't been yet?
Antarctica. Because
that's
that
right,
would
you
be
told me
my
that. The hot
seventh.
one.
That would be
The
my
hot one.
seventh
Hot place.
continent.
The hot one. Okay.
The hot one. But that would be
Number one.
our
Right.
seventh continent.
Right.
Okay.
Because we've been to 6, and so that's our only one that we're lacking. So.
Yep.
What do you do there?
Well, that's kind of my question. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, Norm. Like, I know Antarctica's on our list because it's this. We would say, oh, we've been on the 7 continents, but it's like, is that why we're going there? Just
It's
to
just
stay?
touch down and be like, all right,
Right.
out.
Right, yeah.
like,
So-
it's cold, confirmed.
Right. Yeah.
I can report back to Emily and let her know.
Exactly.
Still not hot down here.
You can
Gotta
get
get some boots on the ground to figure this out.
these pangos, these like rubber boats,
Yeah, there's stuff to do there, but
and
yeah.
you get out onto the boats, and they go along the shoreline of Antarctica, where there's everything. There's penguins,
I'm
there's
sure it's
seals,
gorgeous.
there's whales. It's
Yeah.
and for me, I'm not very mobile these days. That would be Mary going on that trip, okay? Me in Antarctica, I'd get out of the plane, I'd fall down on the snow, and I'd say, I've been to Antarctica.
There you
Norm was here.
go. Yeah.
Put a stake in the ground.
Exactly. Plant the flag.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome.
But we want to talk a little bit more
we could
about
talk about travel forever.
Right. We want to talk a little bit about careers. We got to get in a few sponsors before we do. And speaking of careers, Next Step Recruiting places direct hire, contract, and contract to hire candidates in various industries, including IT, finance and accounting, human resources, and administrative. They've got 3 offices in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Austin, supporting over 250 small to Fortune 100 companies across the United States. We've talked about Next Step a million times before, and the reason I love them so much is because I love the people, and I love especially the co-owner of Next Step Recruiting, and her name is Nikki Koyman. She's a dear friend, and she is a year-over-year multi-million-dollar producer that is a mom to 3, wife, and as I mentioned, co-owner and vice president of Next Step Recruiting, all while continuing to be ranked as if not the best. That's what I was supposed to say. And I'm saying that because I believe it and because she's a total stud. Best business development professionals in the IT staffing industry. Bless my heart, I can't talk. I'm
You're
still
good.
thrown off by that whole Antarctica thing. Another reason we love Next Step Recruiting so much is because they continue to give back to their local community through volunteering at food banks, sponsoring families at the holidays, and my favorite, raising nearly $100,000 for the Do It for Durrett Foundation through their annual celebrity charity golf tournament. So Next Step Recruiting is continuing to grow and expand into new markets, so now is your opportunity to join this dynamic team from any of our listening areas. They operate on a 100% remote basis and are currently hiring for recruiting and business development teams. And it is NSRUSA.com if you want more information. We appreciate the folks at Next Step Recruiting for supporting the mom game.
We do.
Bless my
They're
heart.
wonderful. I'll take over.
Cannot speak.
It's all good. One more while we're here, because you mentioned Do It for Durrett, and we do have Norm, and I know Norm knows Noble Vines wine.
Yes,
quite
we've had
well.
Noble Vines in our house, I think, thanks to Julie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like,
so.
yeah, I feel like you helped me with the initial introduction with Dave Duncan and the wonderful people at Noble Vines Wine. But yeah, probably from our party. Did I?
Yeah. We will have a glass, won't we, honey?
I probably
Absolutely.
gave you guys some. Yes. Y'all were so sweet to come out to our launch party. I was so glad to see you there. And I think I was just handing people bottles of wine too. But a little bit more about Noble Vines Wine. They aim to bring out the best in wine and in people. Their vine stocks originate from highly coveted vineyards in France. I bet you've been there. I haven't. Selecting the best of these vine stocks and cultivating them in California. Bet you've been there. has earned Noble Vines its quality reputation. Their 337 Cabernet Sauvignon. You like that one?
Yes, Mary is especially a cab drinker.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
So you know about their rich, full-bodied style, the aromas of cherry and blackberry and suave tannins. That's my husband's favorite as well, the Cabernet. He's a big cab guy. But Noble Vines invites you to share something meaningful and pour good into the world. They are always trying to give back and do good. They believe there's always something more to give. We mentioned the Do It for Durrett Foundation, and they helped support that and the Do It for Durrett Foundation's party that just happened last month. They also support the Texas Food Bank, and they're a supporter of the Mom Game. We love Noble Vines wine. Must be 21 or over. Noble Vines, Napa and Manteca, California. Please drink responsibly. So let's talk a little bit about careers and life, and your life behind the mic, Norm Hitzges. We can start with you. 45?
40,
Are we 40?
We're into year 47.
We're into 47 years talking sports on the air
Right.
in Dallas. That is crazy.
That's all I do. Now, let's get to Mary's career.
We will. But that's you're downplaying it, but that is crazy. That's a really long time. You have really established yourself. You're, like Emily said, a Hall of Famer in the business. You're doing something right, Norm Hitzges. What do you think when I say that? 47 years talking sports radio.
Well, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very nice. It is now the longest continuous streak in a major market in America, talking sports. I've been on the air every year for now almost 46 and a half years. It's been a wonderful career. Dan Bennett is our general manager at The Ticket. And Dan and I started on the air together in 1986. And he's still the general manager, and I'm still the talk show host. The Ticket's a good place. Yeah. And it's a powerful place. And you talked about the Do It for Durrett Foundation. Our Ticket hosts support a lot of charities. And that's something to be proud of. We're more than occasionally, you've been there, more than occasionally knuckleheads on the air. But a lot of really good charities benefit from it.
Yeah, and one of those is when you do the Normathon. I mean, the amount of money that you've raised for the Austin Street Center is truly mind-boggling when you think about that and the work that you put into that. So this is that time of year when people, they feel that need and that desire and that want to help. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to tell people about the Normathon and how people can help and how passionate you are about the Austin Street Center for the Homeless.
Well, this goes back a long time. I first connected with Austin Street in the late 70s. And I liked them. I really admired the work they did. And then I got to the Ticket, and our friend Mark Friedman, who was terribly ill last year, said to me, "Why don't you do a Normathon?" And I said, "Pardon me?" He said, "Why don't you broadcast 24 hours?" And I said, "I think you're a little nuts. We're going to be on," because he was going to be on the air for the 24 hours too as the producer. And we did it. And the first year we raised $48,000. And we were so proud of ourselves. And the next year, I think it jumped to 50 or 60. And then we started raffling off a car, and then 2 cars, and then 3 cars. We start in early December and go up to the Normathon, which is always the weekday after Christmas. And this year we're raffling off 1 Infiniti, 1 Volvo, and 1 Cadillac. But we have so many other gifts. The sporting community contributes gifts, some of them this size, and
yeah, the experience, you get some incredible experiences. You get some incredible guests. I mean, there's very few people that will tell you no. And that, to me, is the biggest compliment you might receive, is that when you ask them for an interview or for a contribution, that they respect you so much that they they'll move heaven and earth
like, of
to
course.
say yes, to not say no.
We've been really blessed because the growth has gone up and up and up, and in the 20 years we've had it, we've raised $7.8 million just in cash.
Yeah. That's
Just
amazing.
in cash. It doesn't count all the other stuff of people contributing things or knowing the station, even or knowing the shelter, and even going down there to work. Mary was on the shelter board for a while.
The advisory board, yeah.
Yes.
But after you two met? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that you have to love that aspect of being able to when you have a platform like that for you guys to together do things to make an impact, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's so many times when, it's you look at, like you said, the ticket and the drop your pants and the Donnie's domino tournament, like to be able to make this impact on people and to use that platform and the cult that is the ticket. I mean, that this audience is, I mean, it's a, and I'm right in there. I mean, they're very loyal and
Passionate,
they're very
yeah.
faithful and like
And very large.
yes,
Yes.
very large. So when you look back at, I'm real. If you haven't been able to tell, I'm like, what's your favorite place? What's the favorite place you haven't been? So I want to know, when you look back on these 47 years, what is it? People ask me this all the time. I don't have quite the breadth of memories to choose from at this point in time. But when you look back, what's the favorite moment? What's the best thing?
Oh, Lord, that's like asking who's your favorite child.
I know what I'm asking.
I'm grateful for something. I don't have the most pleasant, dulcet tones of voice. Back in the
Speaking of,
bless you.
I went this way.
right on cue.
Back in the
Dulcet
70s.
tones.
Back in the 70s, I got fired from Channel 4. I worked there 3 years, 1 month, and 17 days.
Not that you're
Not that
counting.
I'm bitter about being
Not
fired.
at all.
Okay? But I freelanced for a while, and I wanted to do sports talk. And there were only 2 sports talk stations back then. And there was a nighttime show at KRLE and a nighttime show at WFAA. I wanted that WFAA job open when it opened. And it opened. So I rushed over and gave them a demo tape, and they hired someone else. And I listened to this person, and I don't want this to sound proudful, but I said, I'm better than that. And then they fired him. So I rushed in with another tape, and they hired somebody else. Then they fired him. And I was on the doorstep again. Didn't get the job. And out of the blue, I'd been doing a lot of freelancing. Out of the blue, Newsweek called from New York and said, would you like to come to New York to be our sports producer on the television side? And I said, well, you bet I would. So I dropped by WFAA and said, hey, thank you for considering me, but I'm going to leave the market. And they said, where are you going? The program director. I said, I'm going to New York. He said, New York? What are you doing? And I said, I'm working for Newsweek. And he said, Newsweek? Which is sort of a magic thing.
Yeah.
So I got to New York, and they fired another talk show host. And I moved to Los Angeles to work for KABC in Los Angeles. And one day, they called WFA. And Hal Mayfield said to me, would you like to come home? And that for me was, I mean, there have been so many moments in the air, but that was a defining moment for me. That's what I wanted to do, and this is the place I wanted to do it.
Would you like to come home? That's a pretty great memory.
Yep,
Yeah.
it
Love
is.
it.
So now, how long has it been at the ticket, Norm?
23 years?
23 years.
24 years? I don't
Something
know.
like that. A
Time
long time.
compresses as you get older.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot change there during that 24 years. I'm sure you've changed a lot during that 24 years. How do you reflect back on your time at the ticket and what all that has meant for you and how it might have changed you as a person, even adapted, I guess, if you will.
Well, two quick things. This job has changed dramatically, just dramatically over the years. It used to be you were smarter than the audience. That's not true anymore. On any given topic, somebody or several somebodies out there know a lot more about it than you do
Of course they do.
because of the internet.
And they're ready to tell you about it.
Oh, yes, by email, they're ready to tell you about it. And the second thing is, I did not do any shtick. I don't think I do any right now. But when I got to the ticket, I was a down-the-line sports talk show host. Sports, analyst, opinion, facts, and that's not always the way the business it runs the ticket, as you well know. And
I liked that about it.
I feel they've made me a better sports talk show host. I'm wider now. I don't do much stick, but it's fun when we do.
It is.
And I take my job seriously from information providing, but not as seriously in life.
Some pretty good perspective.
Yeah. Long, wonderful time working for a really, really good company.
And I think it just goes to show you have to be willing to adapt. You have to be willing to change. I remember when I first got to DFW, it was in 2004. And I listened to the ticket even before when I would come to Dallas. I was living in Lubbock. I'd always listen when I was in town. And so I started listening just literally from the time I got in my car till the time I was done with my day. And I remember you being you were so much more straight down the line. And then, when you put Donovan in that mix and, you add the back and forth with the producers and, you see all that and then you get to see your personality and then you see why. And it's like when I tell people about, my job with the Rangers, what I'm trying to do is create an emotional connection with our players so that our fans can have that. And I think that's what the ticket does such a great job with, is creating an emotional attachment to its hosts and to its people. And I think you figured that out, and you wanted to share more and be more.
Well, Donovan Lewis and I have been together for 5.5 years now. That's the first person I ever worked with on the air. I'd been a solo for 40 years. And that changes you. Donnie's terrific. I mean, we laugh about stuff, but the days are always excellent with Donnie. I mean, never does Donnie walk in and you think, boy, he's grumpy today.
Yeah.
Never happens.
Like this is going to be a tough one to fight through.
Donnie,
he's wonderful.
never happens.
Oh, it made me so happy every morning sitting down and getting to work with both of you guys. And that's what made it so hard to leave, is because I feel like everybody at the ticket is so wonderful and people are genuinely friends. It's not just on the air. Everybody has a very large amount of respect for each other and they're good people.
Yeah.
Well, I think the question Mary gets a lot is, do you like sports? When Norm comes home, is that all he talks about, sports? And we almost never talk about sports.
No.
Ever.
So for you guys, what are you ready for him to say to be done with work? Are you ready to have him home more focused more on other things besides handicapping and prepping for shows?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a part that he loves so much, and I think as long as he wants to go for it, I want him to just keep going as long as he wants to go, because it's who he is. I know it brings him so much joy. So just keep on as long as you want to keep on keeping on.
But we would like to travel more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
Because there are places we haven't seen. You get to some places with Mary. You get to some places and you experience things that are, you honestly say to yourself, I wonder the last time a human being was here.
Wow.
It's one quick story, and I want Mary to tell it. We're going to Iceland.
That's the warm one.
in April. And in April, you get one of two Icelands. Nice spring Iceland, or the last vicious snowstorm of the year.
Oh, wow. It's a toss-up, huh?
We were behind door number 2. But we got there, and you study where you're going, and there was this thing about ice caves. So we hire a guide to take us to the ice caves. And he drives, and we get to a turn, and he says, I've got to get out and deflate my tires.
Oh, dear.
I said, oh, my. I looked at Mary, and I thought, where are we going? And then he turned into a field. Just turned into a field. And I said, is this our road? And his name was Bjarki, and he said, this is our route. Okay, so we drive about 45 minutes into nowhere but snow. Just straight across the country into snow. At that point, he pulls on a little high point, turns off the car, and he says, this is where we leave you.
Oh, dear.
No, leave me.
Oh.
He's taking Mary.
Oh. I was like, wait a minute. This is a little too adventurous for me. I'm out.
That's where Mary picks up the story.
Okay.
Yeah, so Norm was a trooper, and he sat in the freezing car, and then Bjarki and I went through to the ice cave, and that was like a whole adventure there. And you had to actually, he asked me, he was like, are you claustrophobic? And I said, well, little, not a whole lot. But so we had to like crawl through a hole that was just big enough to fit me
goodness.
and a backpack. Like me and my backpack on my back. And so we got into this cave, and it's just Bjarki and I in this dark cave, and he had the headlamp, and
I'm already like starting to hyperventilate. I'm like, ah.
it was crazy. You pulled yourself up through a rope, and on the ice, and you had to pull yourself up a icy incline, and then you get in, and then he has all these lamps that he puts around, and it's just all these stalactites and stalagmites, and it's magical. It was gorgeous.
How big was it? Like, once you got in the thing, was it more expansive?
Once you got in, you could stand up.
Okay.
But you had to just like crawl through the hole. And it wasn't, you could see the other side, because I was like, I don't know, if I can't see the other side of the hole, I'm not sure that I want to do that. And he was like, no, you can see the other side. But yeah, then
so
once
you
went
went through
that, then you can and stand up, and
You should see the picture she got.
Yeah, where can we see your work?
I have a website.
Okay.
It's Mary Dan's Photography.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
And now, Mary, I want to talk with you a little bit about Brave Her. I love what you're doing with that initiative. You were kind enough to feature me as one of the people on the Brave Her Diaries, and I know a little bit about it, but I don't know everything about it. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you got the idea.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for, first of all, like being a part of it.
Of
So
course.
it was great. She was so gracious when I asked her. So it's what it is. It's just a place where women can have a voice and a community and camaraderie. And what I did was I started photographing women that have a story, and where they really faced adversity, but yet they, with their positive attitudes, they overcame. And not only did they overcome, they help other people on the path. Like, I'm sure somebody could read Julie's story and go, wow, she went through this, breast cancer at a very young age, but all the positive things that you said about like what happened, how many people can that uplift?
Yeah.
So
well, and for you to see that there's value there in telling these stories for women and really like taking the time to get this going, it has to be something that's really fulfilling. And I'm sure it's fun getting to meet all of these women and tell their stories.
Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah, I think a couple of my highlights, of course, Julie was a super highlight.
Awesome.
I met Diana Nyad, and
That's the person who at how old?
Oh, she was like 60.
Nobody had ever swam from Florida to Cuba.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
she failed 4 times, 5
Yeah,
times?
she made it on her 5th attempt.
Wow.
But that was her goal. She wanted
wow.
to swim from Key West, Florida to Cuba. So she's also just a world-class athlete. But she was extremely gracious, and she did this at 60 years of age.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I mean, that's crazy and amazing.
Yeah.
And so I was in Los Angeles, and she welcomed me into her home, and I spent probably an hour and a half with her, and we just chatted. And so basically what I do is I take their photographs, talk to them a little bit, do their stories, and
How fun.
it's so fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really,
Yeah.
so, and is that braveher.com?
That's Brave Her Diaries.
Brave
That's
Her
on
Diaries
Instagram.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And now you were doing a podcast. Are you still doing?
We're still doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, I do that.
And
with,
I loved the idea for it too.
Yeah, thanks.
If you want to tell everybody about that just a little bit.
I do that with my son Zachary and one of his friends that he went with. He met her in school in like 7th grade, and so they're 2 millennials, and then I'm the baby boomer.
Love it.
So what our theme is, we're bridging the generational gap all across the board, and they kind of tell their view, and I tell my view from the boomer, and they tell theirs from the millennial.
Oh yeah, a lot of stories to be told, right?
Yes.
In that
So
wide
many.
range. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's so fun. I'm so glad that you found something that you're passionate about that you can do alongside while Norm's talking sports every day and
Yeah.
doing his thing. Mary's got her thing too.
Yeah.
Well, the podcast called Stages is really good because her partner, Lorena Lee, is a really good singer. And she goes places and sings. I mean, not singing in the shower. She's
Not like me.
She's an entertainer.
Yeah.
And they do have different takes on some things.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're 30 years difference in age, you're going to have a different approach in life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun to try to bridge that
Yeah,
gap.
it is fun.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Good stories and great ideas, I'm sure, along the way
Yeah.
as well. Well, Norm and Mary, thank y'all so much for being with us. We are so thrilled to have had you in studio. I hope that you'll take some mini tacos,
Cookie dough.
and
We're
pepperoni
definitely
home.
taking it.
Yes, yes.
Especially
So
since we learned it from 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
We're taking them.
Emily told our secret.
I know,
I'm
totally
trying to play
spilled
it
the
out.
beans.
Like, we
but
just
we're-
spent $200 at the cheese
I
store
know.
or something.
Yeah. But we're so grateful you guys came in. We're so grateful for your support of the Mom Game. We've so loved seeing you guys at the launch party. It was so lovely finally meeting you, and we're just so grateful you guys were here.
Well, you two get your bathing suits and we'll go to Antarctica together.
Well played, Norm. I deserve it. Okay, last thing.
I am in.
Look at your camera, throw up the peace sign, and we're going Mom Game out on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Mom Game out.